Happy New Year. Good morning and welcome to this morning's service. The first service of the year 2022. As I think about this New Year's time, I'm always reminded, I often think of the New Year's of 2000 when we went into when we kind of transitioned from 1999 to 2000, and everyone was concerned about the virus. At that time, it was an electronic virus that would cause problems, and the concern about how timepieces were not ready to make that transition. And there was a lot of concern at that time. And as we entered 2000, there was some concern, continued concern. But here it is, 22 years later, nothing, there's a lot that's happened in the past 22 years. But as far as the concerns that were expressed at that time, some of it may have actually materialized, but not to the extent that people were concerned with. I was more concerned about remembering that we had to write 2000, and how would you say 2000? We was at 1999, right? So 2001, 2002, it was a real. It took a while to get comfortable with using that 2000. When we have these changes take place in the world around us, we sometimes become so concerned about something that certainly affects all of our lives. But when we look back, we think about how perhaps we were a little more concerned than necessary, that our lives continue to unfold. We continue to affirm the importance of the relationships that we share, that sustain us, that make our lives possible. On this New Year's Day, as we gather together for this first service of 2022 here at the Betsuin. Please join us in the reading of Sambujo, followed by Juseige.
morning, everyone. Happy New Year. So I'm always very grateful for your great support, and I'm very happy that that we can share the same special vibes of New Year with everyone through this online service again. おはようございます。皆さん、明けましておめでとうございます。皆さんのいつも、ご協力でしたりサポートありがたく、感謝しております。こうしてまた YouTube で、サービス、させていただいて、離れていてもこうして皆さんと一緒に、お正月を元旦を迎えられたことはね、ありがたいことだなと思います。I hope our church will fully open and we can meet you here safely. And this year with you, I'm looking forward and excited and hope to be able to enjoy the events that we miss in this in last few years. I wish I could live my life with such a exciting and fresh feeling. But in our daily lives, we sometimes notice such feelings as nothing is going well for me these days. And I don't know what's causing it, but I'm confused. And of course, I have these same feelings sometimes. It may be a sign that level of our excitement and our self-esteem is somehow low. Self-esteem is a sense of value that everyone has, which is determined by how they think and feel about themselves. This self-esteem is at the root of this feeling when we enjoy anything with excitement and when you think everything will work. So how can we keep that self-esteem? 来年今年こそですね、お寺がオープンになって皆さんと安心して、このお寺でお会いして、そして数年できなかったイベントを皆さんと一緒に、楽しく、過ごしたり、このね次の1年がねの出来事をすごく、楽しみでワクワクしているわけなんですけれども、いつもこんなにワクワクして、そしてリフレッシュしたね気持ちでいれたらなっていうふうに思うんですけれども、私たちは普段生活しているとなんかうまくいかないなとか、なんか原因がわからないけどモヤモヤするななどね、そういう気持ちにねたまに気づくことがあると思います。自分がこうワクワクする感覚、これは自尊心っていうんですけれども、自尊心がこれはもしかしたら低くなっているサインかもしれません。ワクワク感っていうのはこう自尊心っていうのはこう自分についてどう考えている、どう感じているかによって決まる自分の価値に関する感覚で、誰にでもある感覚だそうです。私たちがワクワクするとき、そして何をやってもうまくいけるって思うときは、この自尊感情というのが、高まって根幹にあるからそう思えるんだそうです。ではどうすればその自尊感情というのを保てるんでしょうか。So I'd like to share a word by Reverend Juseige Sakai, who was a Tendai's high monk or ajari, and accomplished his 1,000 days circumambulation practices many times. So he said that 一日一生 in Japanese. Here's a kanji. So 一日一生. Yeah. So this means that a day is embodiment of lifetime. Yeah. A day. This is 一日 is a day, and then this is 一生 is a lifetime. So a day is embodiment of a lifetime. Or we can understand that live this day to the fullest, as if it were your last. So this means to live today to fullest, as if it were our last day, because this moment will never return. Focus on what we do on that day at that moment can facilitate us to live today to the fullest. So I think this is the key to improve our self-esteem. Steve Jobs, who was the founder of Apple, made a famous speech at the graduation ceremony at the Stanford University 6 years before his death. Steve Jobs had had been practicing Zen practices since his youth and valued the Buddhist essence in his life. So when he was 17, he read the quote that went something like this: "If you live each day as if it were your last, someday you'll most certainly be right." It made an impression on him, and since then, for the past 33 years, he had looked in the mirror every morning and asked himself, "If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today?" And then whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, that means he knew he needed to change something. So when he made this speech, he actually had his cancer, but he had embodied 一日一生, live this day as if it were your last in his life, and he sounded very convincing to me, and does even now. Our feelings are not only stable, but constantly sway up and down because of our worldly desires. We tend to get stuck on the regret for what we did in the past, our failures, and our traumas. On the other hand, we also tend to have worries and anxieties about the unseen future. Those fears bother us and keep us from seeing the present time as it is, and make us afraid to try something new. However, Steve Jobs could live his days to the fullest without being swayed by the fears of his disease, because he always tried to focus on here and now and live each day as it were his last. Maybe we can learn from his practice. ここでね、一言言葉をね紹介したいと思うんですけれども、天台宗のお坊さんで千日解放行っていうすごい大変な行を達成されたね、アジャリさんっていうね、そういうタイトルがあるんですけれども、そのアジャリさんになられた坂井雄斎さんっていう方のね残した言葉で、一日一生っていう言葉があります。これは今日一日を最後の日だと思って生きる、今日を生き切るっていうことを、ね、示している言葉です。この今日を生き切る、一日を生き切るということは、この自尊感情というのをワクワク感を高めてくれることじゃないかなって思います。そのためには今日生き切ること、そのためには今日一日に集中することがね大切なんじゃないかなっていうふうにね思います。アップルの創業者のスティーブ・ジョブズさんねいらっしゃいますけれども、彼は亡くなる6年前に有名なスピーチをねされました。彼は若い時から座禅をね行っておられて、そして仏教に関心を抱いておられまして、もうこの時ねすでにスピーチをされた時はがんに侵されていたわけなんですけれども、彼はスタンフォード大学の卒業式の時に学生さんに次のようなお話をされました。私は17歳の時に毎日をそれが人生最後の一日だと思って生きればその通りになるっていう言葉にねある本の中で出会いました。それは印象に残る言葉で、その日を境に33年間私は毎朝鏡に映る自分に問いかけるようにしているのです。もし今日が最後の日だとしても、今からやろうとしていたことはするだろうかっていうふうに。違うっていう言葉が答えが何日も続くようなら、ちょっと生き方を見直せということなんです。こういうスピーチをされました。先ほど言ったように、このスピーチをされた時はジョブズさんはもうすでにがんの病の真っ只中だったわけなんですけれども、私たちの感情というのは自分の思い、この煩悩によって毎日毎分揺れ動いています。そして過ぎ去ってしまった過去への失敗だったり後悔だったり、そしてこれから先起こってくることへの不安で、何か新しいことにチャレンジすること、すごく億劫になってしまうこともねあります。 でもこのジョブズさんは、ご自身のこうね、未来への、ね、不安、もしかしたら死んでしまうんじゃないかなって、病気でね、そういう恐怖感に振り回されることなくね、最後まで、走り続けてこれたのは今ここに集中されて、来られたからじゃないかなというふうに思うんです。In order to be free from the confusion coming from our values, emotions, and worldly desires, I think it is important to pay attention and consciousness to our actions and our surroundings. The practice of mindfulness, which is known as a recently popular practice in many different fields, is also designed to focus on here and now by walking, eating, and anything. Also, practicing in this service, chanting sutras and listening to Buddha's teaching can be said to be the time to appreciate this moment too. By deliberately training to cherish each moment for the rest of your life, you'll be able to cherish this place now, away from the shackles of the past and anxieties of the future. Such our self-esteem will be stronger when it is backed by the peace of mind that we are granted, that is given to us as we are, embraced by the Buddha's wisdom and compassion here and now, which never abandons anyone at any time. This assurance can be our fundamental feeling upon which we base our self-esteem. Our eighth religious spiritual leader, Renyo, also says that there is no tomorrow when it comes to hearing the Dharma. Buddhism is a teaching of not tomorrow or not yesterday, but here and now, today. We are included in Amida's assurance at this time, at this moment, whatever happened to us, and whatever we are. If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? If today were the last day of my life, would I want to be what I am today? I hope I will be able to be myself, who can express my gratitude to people around me. And I believe then that the person who spends one's time with gratitude can find many joys in one's life. So today, we are at the beginning of the year 2022. I hope that we can share the hope for the new year with everyone and enjoy each day to the fullest. 自分のさまざまな感情だったり、この煩悩ってね、自分のこう中心の心が思い出す作り出すもやもやしたこう状況から抜け出すには、このね、今自分のしている行動だったり、自分の置かれている周りにね、注意や意識を向けていろいろ気づいていくことすごく大切なんじゃないかなと思います。最近ね、人気のマインドフルネスっていうのがね、あると思うんですけれども、それは歩いたりご飯を食べたり、いろんなことに自分の意識を向けることで、今ここに集中するように組み立てられているプログラムなんだそうです。それだけじゃなくて、このお勤めに、ね、朝参加してくださったこと、そして一緒にお経を読んだり、そして教皇して仏様のお話をね、聞かせていただくっていうことも、今この瞬間っていうところを味わっている時間でもあるんじゃないかなと思います。一日一生、この一日を、この瞬間を大切にできる意図的なトレーニングをね、積むことによって、今までとらわれていた自分の過去からのとらわれとか、そして未来への不安っていうところから離れて、今ここっていうところをね、大切に過ごせるように、なるんじゃないかなと思います。そうした何があっても大丈夫、今ここっていう自尊感情をね、っていうのは、どんなことがあっても今ここで私の命をしっかり離さないで、抱いてくださっている仏様にね、と一緒なんだっていうところの安心感に裏付けされると、より、 強く根幹的な感情になります。浄土真宗の8代目の、リーダーの方で蓮如さんという方がいらっしゃるんですけども、蓮如さんは、仏教には明日というのはあるまじき、これどういうことかというと、いつでも今、明日でもない今日でもない、仏様のお話を聞くのは今ここですよっていうふうにおっしゃっている、どんなことがあっても見捨てないという仏様の願いは今ここに届いているから今聞きましょうよっていうことをおっしゃっています。今日が、最後の日だったらどう生きるだろうか、今日が最後の日だったらどういう私でいたいだろうか。私は、周りの方に感謝を伝えられる自分でいたいなというふうに思います。そして皆さんと一緒にそういう気づきを持ちながら、感謝の気持ちを持って一日、過ごせるとやっぱり喜びの多い人生じゃないかなと思います。今日は一年の始まりです、今日の始まりでもあります。朝は皆さんと一緒に新しい年も一日一日大切にしていければなと思います。Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei. One of the important practices that we have in Jodo Shinshu and Buddhism as a whole is to hear or to listen. The Onaijing has reminders of that practice of hearing or listening. The images that you see on the Onaijing, one of the kind of dominant image is of kiku, chrysanthemums. And the word kiku in Japanese is to listen, to hear. It is important for us as we live out our daily lives that hearing represents the ability to empathize with another. I think to hear or to listen without any concern about what the other person is saying lacks that empathy, and we really don't receive what that person is expressing and sharing in their lives. To be able to hear, to listen, that kiku reminds us that in everything that we do, our practice is to hear. And most of all, in Jodo Shinshu, we hear Namo Amida Butsu, and in that Namo Amida Butsu is our release from samsara. We are affirmed and assured as we are of the resolution of difficulties that so fill our lives that sometimes it feels overwhelming that there is nothing we are able to do to respond to those difficulties. But knowing that we simply need to hear brings hope into our lives. There is no great practice that we need to do. It's in our everyday lives. If we simply are mindful, if we are able to hear, if we are able to, most importantly, empathize with the world around us, to truly share the importance of what we are experiencing with one another. Today, on this first day of the year 2022, as we look back, there have been tremendous events that have taken place in our lives. There is a great uncertainty that we face in our future. But that's pretty much every day. No matter what day, whether it's the 1st of January or the middle of summer, we still have challenges before us. We still have experiences of our past. But as we are able to listen, we can find or discover perhaps in what we hear, we might discover what we share as human beings. That regardless of where we might come from, what our experience may be, or the experiences of the person that is trying to share with us, their experiences may differ from us greatly. But if we can hear and empathize, that perhaps we might be able to learn something, and that together we might be able to reaffirm what we share with one another as human beings. This new year that stretches out before us, I hope that we will be able to continue to deepen our appreciation of the Nembutsu that affirms each of us as we are of the resolution of difficulties. This is not a selfish thing, right? This is not something that I keep for myself, but rather understanding that assurance transforms the way that I see the world and how I interact with the world around us. Listening, hearing, is an important practice for us. It is more than just listening with our ears. It's to hear with our whole being, to be able to empathize with the world around us. Thank you very much for all that you do throughout the year in support of the Betsuin. Ministers certainly appreciate your support, and the Betsuin, its leadership, is able to provide what we do from the Betsuin into the community because of the support that we receive. Thank you for that support and the kindness that is so openly, unselfishly provided to the Betsuin. Once again, Happy New Year, and thank you for your continued participation in the activities and events here at the Betsuin. I'd like to introduce our guest speaker this morning, someone that hopefully all of you know, not so much of a guest. He's been our president now for a while, and he has a message for us today. So, Steve Onishi, お願いします。
Thank you, Rinban. Does a guest get certain privileges or something that I'm unaware of? It's that's interesting. Ohayou gozaimasu, akimashite omedetou gozaimasu. And that's about the limit of my Japanese sensei. Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to 2022. Obviously, the last 2 years have been pretty strange, pretty unusual to say the least. You know, with COVID-19 and the pandemic, we've had firsthand evidence of global climate change all around us. There's been a recognition of social injustice issues in the world, including the recent anti-Asian hate crimes. And there was actually an attempted insurrection of a federal government. It's just all crazy things. However, there's a lot of positive things as well. You've seen recently commercialization of space travel. As a child of the space race in the 70s, this is of particular interest to me. You can actually now buy a ticket to take a ride into space. Now, I don't know what the price is, it's pretty high, and I doubt if there's any Kamaina rates available. But there's also, improved technology, right? So improved online tools that allow us to do peer-to-peer communication, things like Zoom and Google Meets. Those kind of tools have allowed us to continue to meet virtually and conduct the business of the Betsuin. Many people were able to work from home, which reduced commute traffic. So there's a lot of benefit for all these kinds of things. We've also been able to celebrate things here at the Sangha, even though we're isolated. We recently had a Keirokai event in November. We're able to celebrate some of the seniors in our Sangha, those members over 80, who actually were able to receive a small gift from the Betsuin personally. And then if you haven't had a chance to see, there was a video made of those presentations to all these different individuals. It's a very touching video. Hopefully you'll get a chance to see it. If you haven't seen it, it's available on our website. If you go to our website, you'll be able to view that YouTube video. It's very cool. We actually completed a GoFundMe program for one of our own here within the Betsuin. Again, a very successful thing to support the members of our Sangha. So what's on the store for 2022? Well, it's hard to say since the current COVID situation doesn't seem to be getting any worse. With the Omicron variant, it's actually getting worse. And of course, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. There's going to be additional variants after that. So we'll have to be flexible on how we deal with that. We do have a reopening committee which meets monthly to discuss the current situations. We're trying to figure out when we can safely reopen certain facilities within the church here. But again, the goal is to keep everyone safe. No definite plans for Obon 2022 yet, because everyone keeps asking me. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer to that yet. Possibly, worst case, it might be something similar to what we did last year, right? We had what we called Sangha Summer, and also Obon at Home Moichido. So maybe this year will be Obon at Home Moichido. I don't know. The big thing this year will be we're having a big push for a Generations Phase 2 program, which is their plan for replacing the existing Dharma School building. It's really interesting how this is all coming together. The new plan will have obviously classrooms, new library, meeting rooms. We're actually going to include a small multi-purpose room with a kitchen. Of course, there'll be new classrooms and playgrounds for the Lotus preschool kids. And to help us along this path, we've hired an outside program manager. He'll be focused on keeping us focused on the goal here. With that in mind, we've hired a local architectural firm to start all the design work. They're very experienced programs here in the San Jose, very experienced with the city of San Jose, how to deal with the city of San Jose. So we expect our first drawings here in the first quarter of 2022. We'll probably have final approvals probably second quarter of 2022. Along with that, we're going to start a serious fundraising efforts here early in the year. And we've implemented a new tool which allow us to accept donations of all kinds, from cash to stock to real estate. All these kinds of tools will be in place to help people make donations for Generations Phase 2. As a glass is half full kind of guy, I consider myself to be, I'm actually looking forward to 2022. Obviously, I hope that we'll be able to meet again face-to-face soon. But what is clear is that we can still continue to do the work of the Betsuin. Please, I hope you're able to join us for our Sunday morning services on our YouTube channel and read our monthly Dharma newsletters online. And one thing that the pandemic has taught me, or taught all of us, is that we're all dependent on one another, interdependent. See, Rinban, I do listen to you. We must all continue to do what science tells us. Get vaccinated and boosted if you can. Continue to wear masks and maintain social distancing when possible. And we will eventually be able to meet again face to face, hopefully sooner than later. Thank you very much, and thank you all for supporting the Betsuin and the work we're trying to do here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. One of the programs that we've had here for about 3 years now is the Minister Assistance Program. Two of our ministers' assistants have completed the Jodo Shinshu correspondence course, which qualifies them to receive certification of their position. The certification is presented by Bishop Harada, and although we cannot meet in person, we will be able to present a recording of that presentation at our Hoonko service. So that Hoonko service is scheduled for the 16th of January. So please join us for that. Next week, Sunday, January the 9th, we will resume our regular service schedule with a 9:30 Dharma school service and a 10:10 adult English service. On the second Sundays of every month, Mikame Sensei presents a Japanese language service. Please encourage your friends and family who are able to participate in this service. It follows our 10:10 service. So at about 11 o'clock on the second Sunday, Mikame Sensei presents a Dharma message, conducts a service in Japanese. So please again encourage others to participate in that service. In Morgan Hill, we've been trying to conduct a service in Morgan Hill once a month. It was on the third Sunday, but the third Sunday kind of ran into some other scheduled major services, so we're kind of moving towards a fourth Sunday Zoom service in Morgan Hill, and one of us will go down to that service on the whatever that scheduled date is now. But because of the minister assistants, we were able to do many of the things that we are able to do now. They give Dharma talks, they go down to Morgan Hill, they help us set up for major services like this morning. We see the Uchishiki is out. Last night we were here late. Well, not so late, but we were here late putting up the Uchishiki. But it's through all of their effort that, again, we're able to do the things that we do here at the Betsuin. One of the things that I truly enjoy is hearing their Dharma messages. It's always well prepared, well thought out and presented. And I always enjoy hearing their Dharma talk. Of course, Mikame Sensei is always well prepared and presents a wonderful Dharma talk every time she speaks. And that includes her Japanese language service. If you have an opportunity again, please attend that Japanese language service. The board of directors, as Steve Onishi has so ably led these past couple of years and through these very difficult times, continues to provide leadership for our temple. There are many things that are going on that continue to take place in the temple. I was telling Steve the other day that it feels like one of the kind of anxieties that I have, or uncertainties that I have, is it feels like there are so many things happening, but it's all under a blanket, so I don't know what's going on. And I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be doing something or not doing something, or I forgot to do something. And but there are things that are taking place. Our Japanese language school continues to have classes. Our Dharma school services, our Dharma school classes, the Dharma school teachers have done a wonderful job under Steve Surokubo these past 2 years. Where they continue to meet regularly through Google Meets and on their regular Dharma school classes with their teachers, of course, leading those classes. And they do also a wonderful job in these, again, very difficult circumstances. They continue to keep our Dharma school students engaged. The scouting program continues, YBA program. They had a succulent plant sale a few weeks ago when I asked one of the leaders, what were they selling? I heard they had a sake sale. A sake sale? They were selling sake? He said, no, not sake, succulent plant sale. I said, oh, okay. But there are all of these kinds of things that are going on. And as Steve mentioned, if you take a look at our newsletter, you can find out about these programs that continue to be a part of what we present here at the Betsuin. And of course, we would not have this Betsuin and all its activities without you, the members of the temple, and those who continue to participate in the programs that we offer. Thank you very much for your support on behalf of the Ministry of Staff, the Minister Assistants, and the Board of Directors, and all those who continue to provide the programs here. Thank you all very much for participating. As we conclude, will you please join in Gassho and Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda. Thank you very much, everyone. Happy New Year. We'll see you again next time.